Hey family, this is Ashley B. I am a life coach and a kingdom speaker coming with a quick word, a quick message, here to encourage somebody today. Victimhood to victory. What are you? Are you a victim or are you a victor? Are you a victim to your circumstances, to the things that happen to you, to the situations that happen to your life? Or are you going to turn it around to victory? Are you going to be a victor over those things? Are you going to be a victor over the circumstances, the situations, the hurt, the pain? So it's time to ask yourself these questions. Am I a victim? Even if I was a victim, am I going to continue to be a victim? Or am I going to be a victor? And am I going to take this situation? Am I going to take what happened to me? Am I going to take the pain and turn it into victory? Be a victor from the things that hurt me, from the things that harmed me. Am I going to be victorious over those things? Am I going to be an overcomer over those things? Just the type of person that I am, and I feel like, the heart that God has given me for his people, to be able to kind of understand people's pains and to have empathy for people, just kind of having like that empathetic heart. I've never been that person. I've really tried to stay far away from, judging people's situation and saying like, that's what people get, that that should have happened to them, that's what they get. And it's specific to this message. I want to talk about how we judge people based off of their pain, their suffering. Here's the thing. Who are we? Everybody deals with things the way they deal with things. Everybody heals differently. Everybody, interprets things differently. Everybody goes through their own process to be able to heal, to be able to get over the past, to be able to move on, whatever the case is. And so we cannot judge others. We cannot tell other people how they should feel. We cannot tell other people what their process should be. We cannot be looking at people upside their head trying to understand why you still holding on to that. Why you still feeling like that. You don't need to be feeling like that. Who are we? Who are any of us to be saying what the next person should be doing? Who are we to be trying to figure out the next person's process? We are all different. Something that might happen to me that might take me 3, 4, 5 months to deal with, it might take the next person a year, 2 years. But who am I to say that that person needs to hurry up and get over their situation? They need to move on with their lives. People, we really have to stay away from that. We really have to stay away from deciding other people's process and deciding how other people should be, how other people should be feeling and how they should be looking at their situation and what they need to do. We can't do that. We can't determine that. Who are we to determine somebody else's healing journey, somebody else's process? Who are we to determine that? You know what I mean? And so I just kind of wanted to start with that. But with that being said, on the other end though, and this is bringing me right into my message and to the point that I'm trying to make, at some point, you've been abused, you've been abandoned, you've been hurt, you've gone through situations, you've faced things from your childhood. There's been so many things that have hurt you in the past. But at some point, you're going to have to decide whether or not you're going to be a victim to those situations or you're going to be a victor. You're going to be victorious. Whether you're going to be a victim or you're going to be a victor. And so I say this to say, and so I'm bringing all this up to say that, in the example I just used of how we can't judge other people's process and all of that. But at the same time, let me explain something to you. If you've gone through something in your life, something that happened to you in your childhood or whatever, these things that happened so long ago, and you still holding on to this stuff, you still using this as as a victim, having this victim mentality from, oh, I'm like this because this is how my mom raised me. I'm like this because my dad wasn't around. I'm like this because, you know, all these different factors. So if you still holding on to those things, if you still using those things as excuses, using that stuff as justification for why you do the things you do, why you act the way you act, or using that to excuse things, no ma'am. You have a victim mentality, and it's time to break out of that victim mentality. You could walk around being a victim all you want, but at some point, you can't keep blaming other people. You can't keep placing the blame on what your parents did, what that man did to you 20 years ago, what that person did to you 20 years ago, how that person hurt you 20 years ago. That is creating this victim mentality, and you're going to continue going in your life playing the victim. We can't keep talking about what happened 20 years ago. We can't keep putting the blame on everybody else. We can't keep making everybody else the pit of our problems. We can't keep making everybody else the blame for why we are the way we are, for why our lives are the way it is. No, that is victimhood. We have to hold ourselves accountable. Whatever happened to you, whatever trauma that you've been through, okay, it happened. Yes, it happened, but you have to be accountable as well, though. You have to be accountable for your actions. You have to be accountable for the things that you can control. Some things you can't control, but you have to be accountable for your own actions. You can't walk around playing the blame game with everybody else. It's time to grow up. It's time to grow up. It's time to grow out of that. It's time to be accountable for who you are, for the things that you do. Everything is not everybody else's fault. And even if everything else is everybody's fault, what are you going to do to get that power back? What are you going to do to take that focus off of what everybody else is doing and focusing on yourself and taking action on your own life? Okay, so it is everybody else's fault. Okay, so you gonna continue to let it be everybody else's fault? No, you have to be accountable for your own life. You have to take accountability. You have to take action over your own life. You cannot keep blaming everything on everybody else. You can't keep making everybody else the problem, because everybody else is not the problem. And if you are in a situation where everybody else is the problem, it's time to look at yourself, because you might be the common denominator. And I'm just being real when I say this. We have to be real with ourselves. We have to have self-reflection. We have to have self-awareness. We have to be real with ourselves. We have to be real with what we're putting out into the world. We have to be real. We cannot keep playing this victim, having this victim mentality. We have to be responsible and accountable. The next thing I want to talk about with this topic. Now, the pain that you might have went through, the pain that you might have endured, the pain created the victim, but the victor creates power. Sometimes our victimhood, it comes from things that we can't control. Like, for example, me talking about the childhood, your stepfather or something might have raped you, or you grew up with your father abandoning you, never being around, and things like that. Being abused, being abandoned, those type of things. Those are things that are out of our control. And we are a victim. We're a victim to those situations. We cannot control the situations. We cannot control sometimes the things that happen to us. But however, we can control the outcome. We can change the story. We can change the outcome. We can change the trajectory of where we going. The person who we choose to be, despite the hurt, despite the trauma, despite despite what we went through, what we endured, what we suffered. We have the power to change the outcome. We have control over the outcome. We have control over our future. We have control over what's happening going forward. We have control over the future. My cousin, she's engaged. We just celebrated her bridal shower, right? And like my cousin, she is like on fire for God. She lives for God. She has given her life to God and everything. I was asking her about the story of how her and her fiance got together. prior to her meeting her fiance, she said that, you know, she kept going. She started noticing when she got to the point where she started living for God, and she started, you know, realizing that I have to do something different. She started sitting down and realizing, like, you know, all these guys that I've dealt with in the past, there's a pattern. I've dealt with a lot of men that have cheated on me. I've always dealt with guys that end up cheating on me and hurting me and being verbally abusive and all these things. And so she said at the point where she went through her last situation, she said she sat down and she had to start answering these questions for herself. What is it that's going on within me? What is making me choose these type of men? Sitting down, doing the work on yourself, understanding yourself, sitting down, dating yourself, loving on yourself. You know what I mean? Not looking to fill a void, not looking for external factors to fill the internal. She was just telling me that, you know, she sat down and she really did this work, and she started, you know, she dated herself. She really sat down and thought about this stuff, and you know, like, this is not who I want to be. This is not the type of woman that I want to be. See what I'm saying? Victim to victor. This is not the type of woman that I want to be, and all these things. And so at the time that she met her fiance, 2 days later after she met her fiance was letting her know that you gonna be my wife. You're gonna be my wife. Now, see, I only bring this situation up to use as like a testimony, to use as like an example of exactly what I'm saying in this situation. Now, see, my cousin, all those things that happened to her, she could walk around being a victim of those situations. She could walk around playing that, oh my God, all these men have just always cheated on me. I'm never gonna find anybody. This is who I am. This is who I attract. No, she sat down and she did the work. She sat down and she asked herself those questions. She sat down and she was accountable for the role that she has played, for what it is that's going on within her that's attracting these type of people, what it is that's happening with her. Because see, she could sit there and blame all these men and make them the problem, but I must be the common denominator if I'm constantly attracting these type of men. I must be the common denominator if this keeps happening. You have to be real with yourself. And so I bring this up to say that when we're speaking about this victim versus victor mentality, the best way for you to start shifting from being a victim to a victor is to look at the lessons. Look at the lessons that you have learned. Don't use the things that you have gone through and be a victim to those situations. Instead, you take those lessons, what you learned, and you apply them to your life. Okay, I went through this, right? I went through this. I faced this. This hurt me. This was really hard for me to endure this. But what have I learned from this? What am I going to do differently now? How can I apply this to my life going forward? How can I use what I've went through to help somebody else? How can I use my lessons to be a blessing to somebody else? You see what I'm saying? That is being victorious. Taking those lessons, learning what you need to learn and applying it. Using it to empower you. Using it to turn your pain into power. Using your pain. Don't let your pain be in vain. Don't let your pain be wasted. Your pain was for a reason. You needed that pain. The pain and the suffering that you went through, that can really be your empowerment. That can really be your motivation. Don't let your tears be wasted. Don't let your trauma be wasted. There is something beautiful from your pain. That's why the Lord says, I want to turn your beauty, your ashes into beauty. From ashes comes beauty. God can take the very things that hurt you, that was meant to break you, that you were never meant to come back from. You were never meant to recover, because that's what the devil meant. The devil meant that you were never supposed to recover from those things. Yeah, it might have broken you. Yeah, it might have hurt you. It didn't kill you. It didn't kill you. And the very things that was meant to kill you, that was meant to destroy you, God can take those things and turn it into beauty. And this is why we have to know that we are not victims. We are no longer victims to whatever happened to us. The pain turned it. The pain created the victim. The pain created the victimhood. Okay, that's okay. That's okay. We were a victim to those situations, but now it's time to be victorious. Now we have to know that we are more than conquerors. Now we have to know that we are overcomers. We were made to overcome anything that the devil tried to throw in front of us, that the devil tried to steal our joy. He tried to destroy us. And you know what? Another thing I want to add, I was just having a conversation with like my mom and my sister. I don't know how we got on this conversation, but some type of way we got on the conversation about like serial killers and about, you know, what drives serial killers and where those thoughts start from, the demonic force that the devil starts working in these people to make them want to go out and do these things, to make them want to, you know, commit these crimes and just this evilness. And in the middle of us talking about that, I sat right there and I just started praising God, because I said, Lord, I thank you for my mind. I thank you for a sound mind. I thank you because it's been so many things that I went through in my life that the devil tried to use to destroy me, to kill my joy. I could have lost my mind by now. I could have lost my mind. I could have been out here doing all type of stuff. But Lord, you have kept my mind. And that's the point that I'm also trying to make here. These things that were meant to kill you, these things that were meant to destroy you, these things that were meant to kill you, it did not kill you. It did not kill you. It hurts you. It destroys you. It destroys your pride. It destroys your ego. It destroys your self-esteem. It destroys your confidence. It destroys your trust. But you can take all of those things and turn it around for good. You claim your victory. You can live a victorious life. You can take your pain and turn it into power. You can take your pain and turn it into purpose. You are no longer a victim to those things. The very things that was meant to kill you, it did not kill you. So you know what that means? Because it did not kill you, you are victorious. You are a victor. You take what you learned from that situation. You take what happened in that situation and you use it to empower yourself. You use it for your power. Don't be a victim to those things. Use it as your power. All those things that the devil used to destroy you, you take those things and you throw it right back in his face. Look at me, I'm still standing. I'm still holding my head up. I'm still going. I'm still moving. No matter what happened to me, no matter what I endured, I'm still going. You meant to kill me. Ha ha. It didn't happen. It didn't happen. So now I'm going to keep stepping on your neck. I'm going to keep stepping on your neck. And I'm not going to stop until I reach my goals. I'm not going to stop until I reach the top. I'm not going to stop until I create wealth. I'm not going to stop until I teach somebody else these lessons and help somebody else learn from my mistakes. I'm not going to stop. You have not lost your mind. Even if you have lost your mind, even if you did, you lost yourself, you lost your mind, whatever the case is, it did not kill you. And so whatever did not kill you can empower you. You still have breath in your lungs. So you have another day. You have another opportunity to do something different, to change the trajectory, to change the outcome. You have breath in your lungs to do something, to go a different route, to go a different way. Instead of being stuck in your victimhood, you have the power to create victory. You have the power to have victory. And I just want to leave you guys with this. I just want to leave you guys with this. We are not the authors of our stories. We are not the authors of our stories. However, we are the editors of our story. God is the author of our story. We're not able to write the story. We're not the author of our stories. However, we are the editors of our story. So you know what that means, being an editor over your story? If you know that these are things that you don't like, that you don't want to be a part of your story, you have the power to edit those things out. You have the power to remove those things. You have the power to change the story. If the story was headed one way, it's up to you as the editor to change it. It's up to you to erase some of those things. It's up to you to cross out some of those things. You have the power to edit your story. You are the editor. Victim to Victor. I love you guys. I hope you love this message. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure you follow me on Instagram at IamAshley.B. Go ahead and check out my description. I have a free ebook, a self-help ebook called The Power of Forgiveness. I want you guys to check it out. I'm finally putting it out. Go ahead and check it out in my description. Also, check out my website if you are looking for a life coach, if you are looking to book a consultation or wanting to know more about life coaching, wanting to possibly book a life coach and what that is all about, you can check out my website. You can also check out my booking info on my website. I love you guys, and I hope that this message empowers you. I hope that it inspires you. I hope that it helps you to really sit down and do some self-reflection and have self-awareness and, you know, be accountable for yourself and turn, if you are a victim, turn, you know, empower yourself, inspire yourself to make a difference, to take the power from all those things that were meant to hurt you, that were meant to kill you, and turn it into your power. I love you guys. I will see you on the next video.